Hello everyone, Dean here with the chart power segment for today. It's good to look at charts and get an idea of where you're at, even though it's just one data point. It's a good one, and it's good to kind of take a look back. If all you ever see is prices on a daily, weekly basis, whenever you might check it, it's hard to get the big picture of what's going on. So it's pretty handy to take a look at the charts once in a while. So I'm going to take you through a couple quick charts today. First one is the Bitcoin chart. This is a daily chart, which means each one of these bars represents one day. And as you can see here, we had this long run up on this line, on this trend line, and then it broke through right here. And that's obviously when it started going low. Well, that's pretty easy to spot. But what else is important here is where it came back up to at this point. If it had been still a strong market, you might have expected it to make it back up to this line here. However, when it failed to do that and really reached the same level as you can see here, a level that it's really been hitting a lot at that point. So it was going to be really hard to get through there. And when it failed to get through there, that was a really strong signal that it was going to be heading lower. All right, so that's what happened. Let's take a look at where we're at now. All right, so it headed down pretty quickly in this area. Also, again, on a very strong trend line right there, and then finally broke that downward trend in this area. We had some spikes lower down here, and then it came back up a bit and has been going sideways for a little while now. The market is trying to get some direction. It's pretty good that it is holding this area and didn't continue this trend down and hasn't started a new trend down here. So possibly this area will hold, and then we're looking for it to head higher in the future. Of course, that's probably what most people are looking forward to, but that is where we stand with Bitcoin currently, and that's how we got here. All right, another chart I want to look at real quickly. For these segments, I'll likely be looking at a couple different charts each time. This is a chart for Chainlink. It's one of my favorites. It's one that I follow pretty closely, and there are some interesting things going on here that I'd like to show you. It's a really good performer as far as returns still, even though it has come down quite a bit. And it's also a very interesting technology, which we might cover specifically in a video in the future. So if you want to catch that, make sure to subscribe to this channel so you can be notified of future videos. All right, let's take a look at what we have here. This is such a great chart. This chart, this is this type of chart is one of the reasons that I get excited about charts. I just find it so interesting. As you can see here, we had this trend line going like this, and it just kept bouncing off of this. I mean, you know, there's so many different indicators that you can look at and try to figure out where markets are going to go, and some are better than others, and charts are just one. But like I said at the beginning of this video, it's a good one, because had you been buying every time, almost every time it bounced off of this trend line here, maybe if you wanted to actively trade this, if you were selling up here, because there's another pretty good trend line up here. But of course, what happened? Well, when Bitcoin tanked and all the markets went down, certainly Chainlink went down along with it. But what I find so interesting is that this line that we've been following so long, when it did break through real hard and then hit that bottom point right here, where did it bounce back up to? It bounced back up to that same line. I know I've drawn like a million things on here now, so maybe it's hard to tell. Let me get rid of some of that stuff. And let's just zoom in on that. So this trend line that we were following so long, when it broke through it, boom, real hard, straight through. And that's how you kind of know that the market's in trouble. Like, didn't stop here at all, just straight through, okay? Finds a little bottom here and bounces back up right back to that line. So if you wanted to take an action here, do some kind of trade, taking profits maybe on it going back up, or maybe selling, or maybe trying to figure out where to not get back in. Anyway, this is a really good spot to look at. So what's happened since then? Well, similarly to Bitcoin, it has pretty much been going sideways from there. And let's look at the, just like the Bitcoin chart I showed you, this is the 1 day chart. Each bar is 1 day. I'm going to switch to the 1 hour chart, which means each bar is 1 hour now. So what do we have in the 1 hour chart? Well, yeah, it's been going, if you look at the 1 day chart, which is zoomed out a little bit, it's going sideways, and you can see it is going sideways here, but you can see what it's doing while it's going sideways. It is following these, it's creating little mini trends, and then once it breaks, it continues in that direction. Here's another little trend line it followed for a few days, and then it broke that trend line and started in another trend. All right, and that brings us to where we're at right now, which is, as of today, it broke off of this trend line, and so we'll have to see where it goes from there. In general, sideways. So is it just going to keep making these for a little while? Another thing that traders look at is, this is called a consolidation area. So once it breaks out of this area, which way is it going to go? Are we going to make a new low, or do we go up from here after the sideways consolidation? Well, that remains to be seen. I'm personally long-term bullish. I expect it to go up in the future. However, exactly when is difficult to say. So we're going to be keeping our eye on this for the next move that breaks out of this area. Should be very telling. All right, that's all I have for you today. Thanks for joining me, and I hope that if you liked the content, please give it a like, and hope to see you around in the future. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. And okay, we'll see you. Take care.